Hello, my math buddies. Welcome back. Today we are reviewing everything that we have learned about fractions today. So you guys are going to get this review sheet from me because I want to see what you guys really do know on the fractions and make sure that we know everything before we move on to a completely new unit. So mostly today is just going to be completing this review sheet and asking any questions you have or letting me help you walk through anything, meeting with me, all of that good stuff. That is what today is for, but as we finally close this unit on fractions. Now, what I suggest for you guys, I attached this review sheet and I would really like for you guys to make sure that you have it printed off or you at least have a piece of paper and a pencil so that you can follow along as I help you go through number one. I know you guys are just as annoyed of the drawing tool as I am, so I am breaking out my Expo markers for you guys and putting you in front of my board. I'm going to go ahead and do number one with you guys. It is a addition problem, so it is one of the easier ones that I'm going to help you with. But you guys got to keep these notes on it so that you can have it when you turn it in. All right, so let's go ahead and start. I'm going to read you the question, and then we're going to break down the question, and I'm going to show you just some strategies to help you see what the question is asking you, okay? Here we go. All right, so Amy is following two recipes. One recipe calls for 1/4 cup of butter. The other calls for 1/2 cup of butter. Which model does not represent the total amount of butter? I said butter. Oh, good night. Butter, not butter. Which model does not represent the total amount of butter Amy needs for both recipes? So we need to look at this question and identify any keywords that are popping out of this. Going, hey, look at me, pay attention to me. I'm going to tell you how to do this. Okay, so we know that Amy is following two recipes. Okay, I know there's a little bit of glare, you guys. I'm sorry. This is as good as we're going to get. I'm going to have you closer, but there's still a little bit of glare. I'm sorry. Okay, so like I said, Amy is following two recipes. One of the recipes calls for 1/4 cup of butter. I'm going to go ahead and write it over here so I know. Okay, this is recipe number one. The other calls for 1/2 cup of butter. Recipe number two calls for 1/2 cup of butter. All right, which model does not represent the total amount of butter that Amy needs for both recipes? Okay, so we're looking for the total amount of butter that Amy needs for both recipes. Okay. So before we start even looking at our answer choices, we need to work through finding the total for both of these fractions. So like I told you, it is an addition problem for the fractions. So we're going to go ahead and make our equation, which is 1/4 plus 1/2. Now, here's the thing, though. How did I know it was 1/2? I cannot talk. I'm sorry, my loves. I meant to say, how do I know that it's addition? Not how do I know it's 1/2? It says that in the problem. Hello. How did I know that it was addition? What in this problem told me that we were going to be doing addition? Let's look. So we know about Amy following the two recipes and about the two recipes specifically. So let's look at the question because nothing in here really tells us about it. So it says, which model does not represent the total amount of butter Amy needs for both recipes? We squared this word total. What does total tell you? What does it tell you that you need to do? When you're finding a total, you are adding. So total was our keyword for knowing that we are doing an addition problem, okay? Let's go ahead and continue with our equation. All right, my friends. So first of all, when we get our fractions, we need to look at the denominators and see if they are common. This was what a lot of my friends were missing. So I would love for everybody to really pay close attention to this part, okay? Now, we clearly have two different denominators, 4 and 2. The misconception, meaning the problem that kept happening, was that my friends would see, oh, hey, I can times 2 and still get 4. So I don't have to mess with this one. That's not the case, okay? You have to do both problems. You cannot do one. So let's walk through it. We need to write out the multiples. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's start with 4. We have 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Then for 2, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Now we want to look for the least common denominator. We want to look for the smallest number that both of these numbers can go into. So let's take a look and see which one it is. I'm going to give you a minute. If you need more time, go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to continue, or else we're going to end up listening to Ms. Gonzalez sing a little too much. So the least common multiple that both of them go into is 8. Now you're probably wondering, but Ms. Gonzalez, there's 4. But we have to do it to both fractions. It cannot be done to one, or else we're not going to get the correct answer. Okay? It's not going to equal out. It's not, we got to do both. Promise, both. Okay? So we need to do, let's go back to red. 4 times 2, and what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. Then 2 times 4, and to the top. Now we need to put this hot mess into something a little bit simpler, okay? So let us do our multiplication here to get our new fractions, which we have 1 times 2 is 2, 4 times 2 is 8, 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 times 4 is 4. So here we have our new and improved fractions with the same denominator that they're both done, and we're all good. So let's go ahead and add them and get our total. So here we go. Since we have a common denominator, we do not have to add the bottom. Okay, we do not ever add the denominators together, which was another misconception that I saw. Another problem that I saw was we were just adding the top and the bottom, and we were not going through this process. You have to go through this process, okay? So we do not add the denominator. We only add the numerators. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Now, we could stop here, but that's not the simplest fraction. That is not the smallest fraction at all, okay? That's not quite on the answer. So we need to keep going, okay? How we do that, how we simplify it, is we find a multiple that goes into both of these that we can divide by, okay? I'm going to show you what I mean. I know that can be a little confusing, but I'm going to show you. So here we have 6 and 8. Well, I know that 6 and 8 are both even numbers, so I'm going to write out my even numbers. Well, let's do it in red. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, we don't really need to go any further because we already see 6 and 8. So we need to look through these numbers and see, okay, can this number go in both of them? Can this number go in both of them? Can 2 go into 6 and 8? Yes. Can 4 go into 6 and 8? No. Can 6 go into 6 and 8? No, it can't go into 8. It can only go into 6. Can 8 go into 6 and 8? Oh, 8 can't go into 6. It's 1. It's too big. So the only number that we have that can go in both of them is 2. Okay? So we are going to divide this fraction by 2. Okay? We're dividing the top and the bottom. Okay, here, let me write it like this. Okay, we're dividing the top and the bottom. I know that this looks a little, that looks like a percent sign. Sorry, this is how it's so weird that this is how I learned how to do it when I was y'all's age. All right, here we go. I'll actually give y'all's division. Okay, so now we need to divide it. So 6 divided by 2 is what? 3. Very good. Okay, And then 8 divided by 2 is 4. So here we have the most simplest fraction. Now, a lot of your word problems are going to ask for the simplified fraction, okay? And we might not have needed to go this far, but at least we did in case this is what our answer choices are looking like. It's better to be safe than sorry, okay? You always simplify. You be safe instead of sorry. You always simplify, okay? It's okay to still have it there. It's not like it's, you know, like, it's still okay to have it there, but you see where it came from, okay? So now let's go ahead and look at these answer choices. So on A, we have a rectangle that is split into 2, and it has 1 colored in, which represents a half, okay? Then we have a rectangle that is split into 4, representing 1/2. Hey, that looks just like our required cups for the recipes, both recipes. So this answer choice is representing both recipe 1 and 2. So this is not going to be our answer because we're looking for the one that is not going to represent it. So we can cancel that one out. So now let's look at B. This one, this rectangle is divided into 8 and it's colored in 2 times. This rectangle is rectangle. Babies, it shows you that even teachers just can't talk sometimes. This rectangle, it represents 4/8 as it is divided into 8 squares and 4 are colored in. Well, let's look at it, okay? It doesn't look like the exact measurements for recipes 1 and 2, but when we found a common denominator for these 2 fractions, this is what we got, and this is what this is representing. So both recipes are in fact represented in answer choice B, so that is also not our answer. Then we have C, which is a half and 4/8. Okay. So recipe 2 is represented, and then, wait a second. Recipe 2 is represented twice. So we only have 1 recipe represented in letter C. We're going to have to keep our eye on him, but we need to keep going because we need to look through all of our answers. Because what if we have another one and then maybe we did something wrong? We need to keep looking. Let's go. All right. So letter D, we have 4/8 again, and then we have 1/4. Okay, so let's start with the 1/4. Okay, we can clearly see that recipe 1 is represented here, and then the 4/8, well, that represents recipe 2. So letter D has 2 recipes represented. So our answer is B. All right, my friends. I hope that this explanation has helped just a little bit with the process of looking through the word problems and process of elimination on your answer choices and clarifying that you have to do both of the fractions, okay, and simplifying them. I hope that this helped, my friends. If it didn't, and you're still a little bit confused on something, that's okay, guys. That's okay. Nobody's perfect. We're not all going to get it on the first try. It's okay. I like trying to record this video 5 different times already. It just doesn't happen sometimes, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is you need to make sure you pause this and copy down your notes so that you can have it on your notes and that you can show me that you worked through it with me. And when you turn it in, this one should already be done and ready to go. Now, for your assignment, you will have this, but I'm going to have it in a forms assignment for you to pick your answer choices. However, in your private channel, you are going to show me you're going to show me your work. Okay. I do not want them in an email anymore because I can't keep track of them when I have thousands of pictures of y'all's math work, and I want to be able to hold on to them. Okay, so we're going to send your work in your private channel. That way you know and I know where your work is. Okay, it's in a safe place. Okay, because I get about like a dozen million, cajillion emails a day, and I really don't want to miss any of y'all's work. Okay, I do not want it to fly under the gutter or anything. So you guys need to show me your work in your channel. Some of you are already doing that. Keep it up. That's awesome. Like I said, as always, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. Please, please, please ask your questions today. If you have them, I will meet with you. We will talk about it. We will go through it. I will help you as best as I can. I'll put you up here on the board and we'll work through it, okay? I want to help you guys before we move on, okay? So you guys know where to find me. Bye.